Here is part 1 of your HFY story in cinematic, epic, and immersive style. The void was silent, stretching endlessly between stars, a canvas of black punctuated by distant fires of suns long dead. In that darkness, a cry for help echoed, a signal from the edge of a system that should have been lost, a plea from worlds abandoned by time and reason. The Dominion, a coalition of alien empires, had expected compliance, their power unquestioned, their fleets unmatched. They had underestimated what it meant to call for help in a galaxy that underestimated humanity. From the abyss, the first ripples of response appeared. It was not subtle. It was not measured. It was a human warship. Colossal and roaring with the defiance of a species that had thrived in places even death feared to tread. The resolute cry, massive beyond imagination, tore through the void like a harbinger of inevitability. Its hull absorbed starlight, its engines radiated controlled fury, and energy rings pulsed with a rhythm older than any alien fleet. Below, the planets of the system trembled under storms, magnetic eddies, and gravity twisted by violent tectonics. But from these harsh worlds, humanity had emerged resilient. Cities and fortresses clung to jagged cliffs, networks of tunnels snaked through molten valleys, and human ingenuity had turned every hazard into a weapon, every danger into an advantage. The Dominion, scanning for weakness, would find none. Sensors detected the approaching fleet. Thousands of ships, sleek and disciplined, calculated and deadly, their formation meant to intimidate, meant to coerce. They expected fear. They expected hesitation. But the humans did not flinch. They had faced worlds that crushed the unprepared, storms that burned the unwary, predators that devoured the careless. Fear was a concept left behind long ago. The first alien probe entered orbit. Its sensors swept the planetary defenses, recording data, transmitting assessments. The humans watched it silently, analyzing, adapting, preparing. They did not wait to be struck, they readied themselves to dictate the battle. To shape it with precision that even the Dominion could not anticipate, and then the signal passed through human networks. They had called for help, and the help was arriving, not with negotiations, not with hesitation, but with firepower, precision, and a will that refused to bow. The galaxy held its breath. The hunters had arrived. Here is part 2. Continuing your epic HFY story with tension and escalating confrontation, the Dominion fleet moved like a shadow across the stars. Massive warships aligned in perfect formations, engines blazing, weapons primed to obliterate. They assumed the humans would crumble beneath the weight of their armada, that survival on harsh worlds did not translate to skill in space warfare. They assumed wrong. The resolute cry led the response, a colossus of black metal and humming energy, cutting through the void with unstoppable purpose. Behind it, the Deathworlder fleet surged, smaller ships weaving through asteroid belts and magnetic storms, exploiting every hazard the Dominion had considered a barrier. Every movement was deliberate, every maneuver a lesson in adaptation and ingenuity. The first salvo arrived, crimson beams of destructive energy streaking toward the human fleet. They struck, only to be absorbed, redirected, or neutralized. Shields shimmered, engines twisted gravitational currents, and torpedoes were accelerated back toward the attackers, guided by the humans' tactical genius. The Dominion's precision, honed over centuries, faltered in the face of a species that had learned to turn death itself into a tool. Below, the planet's storms roared in sympathy. Lightning arcs and molten rivers became strategic instruments, masking human fighters, amplifying their attacks, disorienting alien sensors. The humans did not merely survive in this chaos, they commanded it, bending environmental hazards into extensions of their fleet's will. The Dominion attempted a flanking maneuver, thinking their numbers would overwhelm. But the humans anticipated every vector, every angle. Swarms of fighters darted through plasma storms, striking, vanishing, reappearing where they were least expected. Gravity wells generated by the resolute cry twisted space itself, slowing enemy cruisers and isolating their squads. The battlefield was no longer neutral, it was human. From the bridge of the resolute cry, officers moved with calm precision. Holographic maps displayed enemy vectors, environmental hazards, and probable outcomes with uncanny accuracy. Every command was executed with an elegance that belied the sheer scale of the battle. The humans were not reacting, they were dictating the pace, rewriting the rules of engagement, and asserting dominance without rage, without haste, without doubt. The Dominion fleet faltered, its formations fracturing under pressure. Confusion replaced confidence. Hesitation replaced initiative. In the void of space, where only strategy and will mattered, humanity proved that survival on death worlds forged more than resilience, it forged supremacy, and across the silent expanse, the message echoed with unmistakable clarity. They had called for help, and the help had come, roaring from the void with firepower beyond imagining. Here is part 3. Continuing your HFY story with full-scale battle and cinematic intensity, the void erupted with the first true clash of wills. Beams of alien energy lanced across the darkness, searing space itself, while human torpedoes and plasma arrays struck with precision calculated in milliseconds. The Dominion fleet, vast and disciplined, had never encountered resistance like this, resistance born not of numbers, but of intellect, instinct, and a legacy of surviving the impossible. The resolute cry moved like a leviathan through the maelstrom, its black hull absorbing starlight, engines pulsing with raw power. Its shields shimmered against bombardments, bending, dispersing, and neutralizing attacks with a calm inevitability that defied the Dominion's calculations. Every strike they delivered was anticipated, countered, and used against them. Deathworlder fighters darted through the chaos, weaving between storms of molten rock and lightning arcs, striking alien cruisers and vanishing before retaliation could arrive. Gravity anomalies manipulated by the dawn twisted enemy trajectories, slowing massive dreadnoughts and isolating entire squadrons. What should have been overwhelming firepower became a series of carefully exploited weaknesses, each revealing the human's genius in survival and strategy. From the bridge of the resolute cry, officers monitored holographic projections, every movement choreographed with precision. Decisions were made in an instant, probabilities calculated and exploited, the battlefield reshaped by intellect rather than sheer force. Every alien strategy met its counter, every attack returned as a lesson in futility. The flagship of the Dominion attempted a desperate assault, firing its heaviest weapons in a volley designed to annihilate. Human countermeasures turned the attack inward, redirecting energy into gravitational pulses that immobilized the enemy ship and sent smaller escorts drifting helplessly. The Dominion, confident in their superiority, now found themselves prey to a species they had presumed weak. The humans pressed forward, unrelenting, not with anger, but with purpose. Every movement declared a truth that resonated across the void. Humanity was forged to survive, to dominate, to turn adversity into mastery. The Dominion's centuries of experience were irrelevant against instincts honed on deathworlds where death was a constant teacher. And as the last of the first wave of enemy ships faltered, the message became undeniable. They had called for help, they had awakened something they could not contain, and humanity answered with firepower. Here is part 4, escalating the turning point and showing humanity's dominance in cinematic HFY style. The Dominion fleet wavered, their formation splintering under pressure they could not anticipate. Every tactic, every maneuver, every expectation was shattered by humans who had mastered not only survival, but control over chaos itself. The resolute cry moved at the heart of the battle, a colossus of blackened steel and pulsing energy, radiating inevitability with each deliberate advance. Plasma storms, molten rivers, and jagged canyons were no longer mere hazards, they were extensions of human strategy. Torpedoes accelerated through volcanic fissures, gravity wells twisted enemy flight paths, and Deathworlder fighters vanished into acid storms only to reappear striking from unexpected angles. Each strike, each maneuver, was a lesson in adaptation and ingenuity, a reminder that humanity did not fight like others, they fought like the planet itself. The Dominion fired in desperation. Particle beams carved through space, torpedoes streaked across the void, and massive warships unleashed volleys designed to annihilate. The humans met each attack with calm precision, redirecting energy, bending trajectories, absorbing destructive forces, and striking back with surgical efficiency. Entire squadrons were immobilized without a single human casualty. From the Resolute Cry's bridge, officers observed holographic projections of enemy vectors, environmental hazards, and tactical opportunities. Every decision, every order, every countermeasure was executed flawlessly, a testament to what it meant to endure worlds that would have crushed lesser species. The humans were not merely defending, they were asserting mastery, shaping the battlefield to their will. A Dominion dreadnought attempted a final aggressive thrust, but it faltered as gravitational pulses from the Resolute Cry locked its engines and twisted its trajectory. Smaller cruisers drifted helplessly in orbit, their crews scrambling against the inevitability of human control. The Dominion's arrogance, centuries in the making, collapsed under the quiet, relentless assertion of Deathworlder supremacy, and as the last wave of alien aggression faltered, the truth became undeniable: humanity did not bow. Humanity did not flinch. Humanity commanded the battlefield, proving that the species forged by impossible worlds was now unstoppable in the void. The galaxy held its breath. Deathworlders did not retreat. Deathworlders answered with firepower. Here is part 5, escalating toward the decisive climax of the HFY story. The Dominion fleet teetered on the edge of collapse. Ships that had once inspired fear now drifted helplessly, engines stuttering, weapons silenced, formations broken. The humans did not rush to destroy, they did not revel in chaos. They moved with measured precision, dictating every aspect of the battlefield. Every maneuver, every volley, every pulse of energy reflected the experience of generations who had survived worlds designed to kill. The Resolute Cry advanced steadily, its colossal hull shimmering with controlled power, energy rings glowing like living veins of light. From the ship, gravitational distortions radiated outward, twisting the battlefield into a tapestry of human strategy. Alien torpedoes bent away, particle beams faltered. And dreadnoughts drifted immobilized as if frozen by the sheer weight of human will. Human fighters darted between plasma storms and molten rivers, striking isolated cruisers with perfect timing. Each attack exploited environmental hazards the Dominion had ignored, turning every storm, every fissure, every lightning strike into an instrument of war. The battlefield was no longer neutral, it belonged to the humans. The Dominion tried to regroup, attempting to mount a counter-assault. But their calculations failed, their communications jammed, their confidence shattered. Every plan was anticipated, every move countered, every strategy undone by a species that had made survival an art. And dominance a habit, a flagship, massive and bristling with weapons, surged forward in desperation. With a single gravitational pulse from the Resolute Cry, its engine seized, its shields faltered, and it drifted helplessly among disabled cruisers. Smaller ships were corralled into the void like prey in a net, unable to resist the subtle, inexorable force imposed by the humans. The Deathworlders did not cheer, did not shout, did not celebrate. Their actions were deliberate, quiet, unrelenting. They were not just victorious, they were asserting a truth centuries in the making: humanity survives, adapts, and dominates. The Dominion realized their arrogance, their belief in inevitable victory, had been a mistake of cosmic proportions. They had called for help, and instead, they had summoned a force they could neither predict nor control. Humanity had not come to plead, humanity had not come to negotiate, humanity had come to demonstrate the power of survival turned into mastery. Across the void, a single message reverberated silently through the wreckage of what was once the Dominion's might: Deathworlders do not bow, Deathworlders answer with firepower. Here is part 6, the epic conclusion of your HFY story with cinematic resolution. The Dominion fleet, fractured and broken, drifted helplessly through the void, their once mighty warships frozen like statues. Their weapons impotent, their command shattered. The Resolute Cry hovered at the center of it all, immense and resolute, its energy rings pulsing rhythmically, a heartbeat of unyielding human will. Around it, the Deathworlder fleet moved with silent precision. Fighters darted through molten storms, plasma volleys arced and dissipated, and every ship acted as an extension of the Dawn's will. The battlefield was no longer space, it was a canvas painted by human strategy, intelligence, and defiance. Each gravitational pulse, every energy deflection, each calculated maneuver demonstrated mastery beyond the comprehension of any alien mind, the Dominion flagship tried one final act of defiance. Unleashing a barrage meant to destroy the Resolute Cry. Every torpedo, every beam, every surge of energy was anticipated and neutralized. The humans did not retaliate in anger, they acted with calm inevitability. The alien vessel froze mid-assault, drifting powerless, its crew forced to witness the consequences of underestimating the species that had thrived where death ruled. The planetary storms roared in quiet resonance with the victory above. Lightning flashed across molten rivers, clouds churned violently, yet every hazard had been accounted for, turned into a tool of survival and strategy. Humanity had not merely fought, they had dominated, teaching a galaxy that power is measured not by fleet size, but by adaptability, ingenuity, and will. From the bridge of the Resolute Cry, officers gazed outward, the calm aftermath of triumph reflected in their eyes. Systems hummed, energy stabilized, and the alien fleet, defeated yet alive, slowly drifted into retreat. Humanity had not just survived the impossible, they had rewritten the rules of engagement, proven the strength of species forged on worlds designed to break them. The galaxy itself seemed to pause, watching in awe as the humans stood resolute, unbowed, and victorious. The Dominion would carry this lesson across star systems for centuries. Underestimate Deathworlders at your peril, and as the Resolute Cry pulsed softly in the void, a single truth resonated across the cosmos.